In terms of network behavior, we consistently study the intrusions based upon the signatures that are already derived within the platform, and also use our machine learning models to consistently study if there are any potential malicious activities that are happening over the network. Could be a potential command and control or a botnet communication. If you look at the intrusions, we call out what is the source, destination, and the associated signature with a severity label as well, followed up with the signature category. In this particular case, we could see an inbound connection from Chinese source with a signature associated to scan on a specific SQL port, and we categorize that as a potentially bad traffic. For us to get into the specifics of it, click 2 times on this particular incident and you get to see the severity associated to this event, the source of course, the signature statistics. If there is any threat intel match, we query that and give you over here on the same screen itself, and associated deep packet inspection. There is also a little triage button which can be utilized by the analyst to have a quick check if there has been any other communication that was originated inbound or outbound from the IPs which we believe are malicious now. Example is the earlier communication that happened from a Chinese source was an inbound communication on an internal IP address with range 192.168.11.111. For us to quickly identify if there was any lateral communication that happened from the IP which was involved, the internal IP which was involved in this attack, we can quickly go ahead and perform a triage to check if this internal IP spoke to any other internal IP or to any other external IP to perform a quick triage. We call out the entire deep packet inspection over here. We can natively integrate with your Active Directory and call out the host insights, system insights, and of course the Active Directory insights on the same screen itself. Analysts can actually go back into the timeline of the least 7 days within the platform. This level of triaging is super complex when you look at multiple firewall logs and of course the flow insights. With a click of a button, an analyst will have a holistic picture in terms of communications that have happened associated to this attack sequence. Let us go back into the intrusions page again. Apart from the incidents that are observed over here, we call out the categorization in terms of high, medium, and low respectively, followed up with a quick heat and what kind of activities that we are consistently tracking via utilizing machine learning models. In this case, we could see another Chinese communication taking place, which happens to be an outbound communication completely. We can click upon this particular instance and check the number of communications that have happened between the source and the destination, calling out what was the source port and of course the destination port involved. In order to get into the specifics of this incident, the analyst can again click upon the event and get into the insights of GeoLookup and of course if there is any threat intel associated to this event. The detailed deep packet inspection is present over here on the same screen itself with the functionality of triage that we have seen just a while back. Because this is a machine learning driven detection, any communication that we see today, it could be encrypted or non-encrypted traffic. The idea is not to focus upon decryption and identify if there is any suspicious activity going upon, primarily because we completely observe today that the attackers are using private decryption keys, which essentially means that we have to focus more on behavior over the network and study what kind of communications that are happening, what kind of uploads or downloads that are taking place, how intermittent the connection is. That kind of analytics help us in building signal intelligence and identify potential command and control or a botnet kind of activity over the network.